All right, well, let's begin. Why don't you tell everybody your name and how long you've been in Florida?
My name is Bartee, Bartee. I've been in Florida since 1981,
And before Florida, you lived where?
in Ohio.
What was life like for you when you first got to Florida?
Interesting, warm. Jobs was not as plentiful. I came here with a high pressure boiler operator's license. I used to work for Ohio Edison. Here, it would be considered Florida Power. I wasn't able to obtain a job here with my license, although the operators here, you don't need a license unless you work at a nuclear plant. So I wasn't willing to relocate to Crystal River, so I made the best of what it was.
Okay, we're here with Bartee in Daytona Beach, Florida. And today's topic is domestic violence. It's a man's crisis too. And Bartee, before we begin with our little chat with you, you want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
My name is Bartee. I'm from Akron, Ohio. I have two wonderful sons, Eugene second and EJ first.
That's good. And this is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. And before we get into your story, I just want to share with everyone about one of our first dates where you shared this story with me. And sometimes I think when a woman is talking to a man and trying to develop a relationship with a man, if a man has a story about a domestic violence incident, that may be a red flag for some women. It may tell some women they need to get out of Dodge, leave that fella alone. But in our case, your story really helped to strengthen my heart towards you, and I appreciate you for sharing it. So why don't you tell everybody what domestic violence means to you and kind of lead into what happened to you?
Well, before we get started on what happened to me, now my story might be a little bit different. I was innocent. And I know a lot of guys say they're innocent, but I was and still is innocent. What had happened, I was dating this lady, and we had been dating for about 5 years. And as the time, I can't go back and tell you all the details of our dating, but there were signs of bipolar that I didn't recognize, and still to this day, I don't know if she had bipolar, but she masked it by smoking a lot of marijuana. And doing some of my training as a court officer, that was one of the signs. Again, the crisis for me was that it seemed like you're guilty. Instead of being innocent, proving guilty, you're guilty, then you have to prove your innocence. When we went to court, she had on a collar. Like, you know, you had those traffic accidents. She came there with her son, and she also had a cane. So the judge listened to our story, and she decided to tell the judge that she'll let God take care of it. So he dismissed the injunction. And I continued to go to pretrial, and I was offered several times different cases. They wanted me to go to domestic violence, pay so much money, go to a lot of classes.
Like anger management classes?
Anger management was one of them. And being that I was an innocent man, I told him no. And so I went down to the state attorney's office because I was pissed because I really didn't do anything. And I had wondered why that everyone was catering to my lady friend. They couldn't really talk to me because I was not the victim. And again, I was pissed. I'm explaining to them exactly what happened. And again, they couldn't talk to me because I was not the victim. And if we back up a little bit, when we first went to court, she was allowed there was an advocate there to speak for her and to get information. I didn't have nobody but me and my word. So, to end this story, I'm still pissed. I had a lawyer. We took it all the way to, I wouldn't take any offers because I was really innocent. So when I went to pick a jury trial, I had a good lawyer, matter of fact. Now he's the judge of the Seventh Circuit Court. They dropped all the charges. And that was it.
Do you know why they dropped the charges?
I'm not sure. I mean, most of the time, if you, I work for the court system, and I work in pretrial, matter of fact, and a lot of the defendants barely go to trial unless it's someone got hurt or killed or really a violent episode. They normally drop a lot of those domestic violence. But as time comes on, this generation, and the years go by, a lot of systems now are demanding that they take you the whole length of the trial, being that there's a lot of men and women that presses charges, but they don't pursue it, and costs the court a lot of time and money for whatever reason.
What do you mean they don't pursue it?
Well,
They dropped the charges?
they try to drop the charges, or else they don't show up for court. So if the state don't have any witnesses, it's hard to prove. Unless, again, there's a lot of violence there. For me, domestic violence, my first episode, and that was my first episode, I didn't think they treated me fairly. Again, I was innocent. I'm not going to tell you the side of the story, but just take my word for it. I never had, I would never hit a woman unless she hit me. Now, I probably wouldn't hit her, I probably would smack her, but I would explain to her at the same time. Now, if you hit me again, I'll hit you like a grown man.
Oh.
I believe that. I'm not gonna put my hands on you, and you damn sure ain't gonna put your hands on me. So, that's that. But Domestic violence can be good to some. Hopefully it'll work for you that are innocent. Again, I had to prove my innocence, and it cost me some money to do that. And I didn't get an apology from the court. And you know, if a person, all depends on who sees this video. I don't want to give anybody no information is pertaining to receiving money. But there's a way you can get up to $1,500 by
for relocation expenses? No?
I don't know exactly why they give that to you, to the person that filed the charges.
To the victim.
Yes, to the victim.
Mm-hmm.
But you can receive that. The person that filed the charges against me, I'm sure she received probably that money and wanted to continue on with the process, prosecuting me. Domestic violence is a sad affair, really. And I can't, people have their own reason by staying in a relationship that's physical. I don't understand it. But that's for you to decide. You have kids, those who don't have kids, still that's going to have to be your decisions. Because there's a lot of things that goes along with domestic violence. Finding a shelter. For me, I would say, talk to God and your conscience. I mean, it's really hard. I'm the type of person, I believe in live and let live. I don't really give advice. You might can ask me what would I do in a certain situation, and I would tell you what I would do. But everyone's not the same, and I know this. I'm just telling you a piece of my story, how it is on a man's view of domestic violence, being that I had to prove my innocence, and I was determined guilty from day one.
Let's back up a little bit. I know you don't want to share details about the incident, but what happened immediately after the incident? Did somebody call the police? Did she go to the...
I'll tell you a little bit about the incident. I'm the one that called the police. Mm-hmm. I had a situation where the lady I was dating wanted to talk to me. And I really didn't have anything to say. So I left my main room and went into where I was staying, my extra bedroom. And she came in there and she had stood in front of the door. I was getting ready to get my stuff ready to go to work for the next day. And so as I tried to exit the room, she blocked the door. Now all I did, I removed her hand from the door so I can leave that room. You can't hold nobody hostage even in your own house. And so at that time, she claimed she fell back. She grabbed my shirt. We went to the ground. And when I say that I removed her hands from the door, it wasn't a violent removal. I just lifted her hands upward so I could get out from blocking my door. But anyway, once we got on the ground, I got up, left the house. I wouldn't call the police because it seemed like she was trying to bait me at that time to, get violent. So when I left the house, I had been contacting my landlord at that time. I was renting. And I was trying to remove her from the house. But anyway, police came. They asked me all kind of questions. I went about 2 doors down from where I stay. My landlord had came down from Boston. And police asked me all kind of questions. Was I drunk? Was I drinking? Told him no. I got kind of close to him so he could smell my breath. Kind of blew it in his face. If two police officers came down, I'm trying to explain to them what was going on, what I'm trying to do. I'm hearing all kind of things from them. They've been working 16 years and this and that. I've been working in courts for 25 years. So the police, what they did, they escorted me back into the house. I was going to stay 2 doors down. My landlord agreed to let me come stay with him to the next day. And what happened was then I got in the house and I'm worried about my lady friend taking my jewelry and other personal property out of the house while I was gone. So I tried to get some information from the officer. And his smart remark was, I told you to get your stuff. You want to go to jail?
So you mean to tell me you asked to go back in the house to get your items and the police officer got smart with you?
Yeah, all you can take, all they will let you take is toothbrush or whatever. I was in the back room, and that's all they would let me do. I was taking my work clothes that I need to go to work the next day, and that was the remark that he made. Like I said, when they first 2 officers came anyway, they was, giving me all kind of static. The lady I was dating, she was kind of high yellow. I don't know if she looked white to them, but you know how that go. I'm not sure.
Did they call the ambulance for her?
No. Let me finish the story.
Oh.
So, I took my stuff, got in my van, and I went parked in the driveway. Now, I explained to the officer that I was scared again that she would take my personals. And so he didn't give me any satisfaction with his answer. So I called the supervisor. And you know how that goes. In about, I'll say 2 to 3 minutes, police car backed up. Told me I was under arrest. All right, so.
What were the charges?
I guess domestic violence. I knew that was coming. When they arrested me, they didn't have no other charge. He didn't tell me at that time what the charge was. I can't remember. But yeah, I was pissed off. But again, I guess some people would have let that go. But it's just my nature, you ain't gonna just do me any kind of way. And I wanted to find out. If I couldn't get an answer from him, maybe I could have got an answer from the supervisor. So I thought. Now, as they put me in the paddy wagon, put me in his car, we drove back in front of the house. All of a sudden, fire truck come, ambulance come. They came in the house. Police went in the house. One of them had her write a statement up. The supervisor came, looked in the window to the officer. Good job, good job. That's what he told him. I looked at the supervisor, said, good job. Yeah. And I just, this is not my first run-in with the police as a juvenile. I did some time. But as was all said and done in 1975, everything was over with. So I know how they operate. I'm seeing it from both sides. Like I say, now I work for the court system. But I didn't get mad because, I know a little bit how that goes. Anyway, the officer, he's saying I'm a liar. You know how they try to talk to you in the car. I'm laughing inside, but I'm really mad. Saying I'm a liar. He's saying that I'm telling them that's my girlfriend. We dated. I don't know what answer he wanted to come out of my mouth. Either he wanted me to say that's my wife. I didn't know what's the difference between dating, girlfriend. I didn't know what he wanted to hear. But anyway, that's the answer that I gave him because that's what it was. And after I get all this liar stuff, I'm not answering back. I mean, it didn't need a response, not from me. So they put me in the paddy wagon. You know how that goes. Took me to the station. Helped me in the paddy wagon for a while. I'm cut from behind. It took a while. By checking my records, they know I used to work at the jail. So I guess this was some, somebody they caught doing wrong, I guess. An officer of the court. But anyway, once I got there, it wasn't no problem. They wanted to put me in protective custody, but I didn't need to go in protective custody. I can take care of myself. So they asked me that, and I gave them that answer. So I went to the cell. It just so happened the next morning, my cell was the one that had to clean up. So I mopped, with no thing. Been there, done that. I was interviewed by one of the officers with pretrial services that I work with. My court administrator, they knew what was going on. They know me, they know that wasn't my style. I had no problem with them for my job. Went to first appearance. This is a new judge, which actually I guess I didn't express myself like I should have. She didn't want me to go into detail, but first appearance, what you say, all that's the record. And I was trying to explain to her the only reason I was arrested because I called the officer supervisor. And so anyway, I asked for to be released on my own recognizance. She said no. Anyway, I had to pay $100 to get out. Called a bonds person that I knew. He accepted a collect call. Came and got me.
But you had to stay overnight.
Yeah, domestic violence, you have to stay overnight for a first appearance. Everybody has to have a first appearance.
And then the next day you had to clean up the jail?
Well, just had to clean up the cell that I was, the unit that I was in.
Mm.
Yeah, but it wasn't no thing. My job was to mop the floor, so that's what I did. Again, the officers, they were new. I didn't know some of them, but one of the officers that worked there, he came up and asked, he said, Gene? And some of the officers wouldn't even let him talk to me. I mean, the system is something else, it was just something else. You can't let it get to you. Again, for me, it wasn't no problem. Been there, done that. But after that, the rest of it is in the front part of it, where I told you about going to court, but they offered me this, offered me that, and I wouldn't accept. So again, on my last day to pick the jury, as soon as we went in, it was over with. Still had to pay my lawyer. Paid him half up front and gave him the other half once the trial was over. I tried to sue him. It's kind of hard suing somebody in your own county. Try to go elsewhere, but again, they was worried about, from what I gathered, what the person that charged me with when they came to court, what they'd say. That's another thing that pissed me off, because what could they say? I told them exactly what happened, and that's why they represented me. And so the one lawyer here, he filed all the paperwork, but then again at the last moment, he declined to take it to court. I tried Morgan, I tried people in Orlando, nobody take it. So eventually, I could have though paid it used to be $80, now it's $500 something. Excuse me. I could have paid that and pursued it myself. But at that time I had the money to do that. So
So you spent a night in jail, you had to clean, you had to be seen by folks that recognized you. You lost time off your job. You had to, like I said, pay the attorney, and the case was dismissed.
yeah,
But she probably got some financial
I'm sure
assistance.
she got part of the $1,500. I mean, that's just how it works with the court system. I mean, now, some people out there that really need to be seen by the court because of domestic violence. A lot of hurt out there for a lot of women, and probably men too, I'm sure. So this is just my case, because I'm innocent. So if you're innocent, this is some of the things you have to go through. Can't let it bug you. That's how it is. You're gonna be guilty, and you have to prove yourself innocent. And you're not gonna get an advocate to talk with. You're not gonna get to talk to the state attorney about your case. It's all about prosecuting you. That's what it is. So I hope this video helps some innocent people that's out there. Just be prepared. You have any other questions, get back with me. And if I can answer them for you, I surely will.
Bartee, if there was anything you could have done differently in that situation, what do you think you could have done?
Differently as far as which situation? Being arrested, calling the police, or having the incident at all?
Well, I guess all of the above.
Well, I could have talked with my friend.
Mm-hmm.
That would maybe avoided that at that time.
Do you think because of her drug use that made it more difficult to talk, or do you
No, I don't
think that was
that.
you?
It's just that we had talked, and that was it for me. I mean, once I'm through talking, I'm through talking. I'm not a violent person, but I'm through talking.
Okay.
She used to run around with the windows open, middle of the night, playing gospel music. Well, I ain't gonna get into all that because I think she really did have some problems. I'm just that type. I'm a good man, and I'll try to be there for you as long as I can. But once I get enough, that's enough. And it was enough, and I didn't feel like talking. So,
So you would have handled that differently by continuing to talk to her, or
no, I wouldn't handle that part differently. I mean, sometimes it is what it is. I mean, if I had to do it all over again, it'd be the same way. I mean, took me a night in jail to get her removed from my house, and I have been trying to do that for a couple months. So.
how were you trying to get her removed? And,
Well, I
and
don't
it
want to
didn't.
go into all that detail.
Okay.
'Cause somebody,
Okay.
they might try that and just cause the problem themselves. So.
Okay. So you spent a night in jail and got her removed from your house. How did that work?
Well, what happens is you have to come. I really wasn't supposed to come by the house. Once you get released, the judge gives you some orders, some rules to go by, and you have to stay so many feet away from the victim.
Mm-hmm.
Just so happened I drove by. I was trying to tell the person that picked me up. Oh yeah, the Bonds guy did pick me up. I was trying to tell him to speed up. He kind of slowing down by the house, but her son was here and they were moving. They had the moving van out of there, so I went around the corner and waited a few, and they were gone. And so I came back to the house, called the police so they could come and see that she wasn't no longer here. They took some of my personals, but it's all right. And I was able to get back into the house.
Now, how do you think you would have handled the arrest differently? You think it? When you think back,
I couldn't have. Well, I probably wouldn't have got arrested. I wouldn't have got arrested if I didn't call supervisor. But me, this is my nature. I'm not taking nothing from nobody. I did that when I was locked up, and I'm free now. I don't have to do that no more. I can talk for myself. So if I feel I'm being mistreated, I'm gonna try to handle it the right way. For my days, I wouldn't handle it that way. I would, anyway. But again, if I didn't call the supervisor, probably would have. I'd have spent the night up the street and came back home. But I don't know if that problem would have been solved. Probably have to deal with it again. So it worked out for me.
so do you feel domestic violence is a man's crisis too? Do you think this was a crisis situation for you?
It's for a man and a woman. I mean, it all depends on everybody's situation is different. Again, if you're innocent, those are some of the things you're gonna have to go through. If you're guilty, then you get what you got coming. That's how I really feel about it,
Now, Bartee, you have two sons.
Yeah.
If either of them called you and said, "Dad, this is the situation I'm in," what would you do, or what would you say? What would you?
It depends on the situation. But if it's domestic violence, I'm always talking to my son about him and his girlfriend, don't play around pushing each other. Don't really put your hands on them, because you never know. I mean, you start, ha ha ha, laughing. Just, glad a little tap on the shoulder, a little push here, just playing around, grabbing. You know how some people do. I mean, again, everybody's situation is different. But I tell them, don't start like that, because you just never know, And some people get in the habit of that, and it can lead to other things. So if you can avoid those type of games, I mean, some people, to them, it's romance. I mean, each to each his own. This is about me now, so I can't really tell you what to do for yourself. But if you can, try to avoid it, avoid it